this was the one thing that I did wrong where my skin went from this to this. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Christine and I am a skin and sun care junkie. Today I want to talk about a topic that is super near and dear to my heart and something that I've struggled with for several years now, melasma. If you've struggled with these really frustrating patches of discoloration on your face, trust me, you are not alone. I'm going to share with you my personal melasma journey and how I've been able to keep my own melasma at bay for years now. And I'm also going to give you some recommendations on products that I have personally used, as well as procedures that I think are extremely effective at not only managing your melasma, but keeping it from coming back. So first, what is melasma? Melasma is a skin condition that causes discoloration, usually on your face, and it can take the appearance of like brown or grayish patches in very distinct areas on your face. And so it can come on the area above your lips, it can appear on your cheeks, on the lower half of your face, the bridge of your nose, or even almost as this like halo on your forehead. For me, the way that my melasma presented, and I'm going to show you some photos of it later, was almost like a halo on my forehead as well as a line above my lips, like I had a mustache. So now let's talk about what causes this frustrating skin condition. It's actually sun exposure. Harmful UV rays trigger extra melanin production, which is the pigment that gives our skin color. It's sort of like our skin's defense mechanism just goes a little bit haywire, but it's not just the sun. Hormonal changes from things like pregnancy or birth control can also play a role. Increasingly, there's also evidence that heat can cause melasma conditions to get worse, which I am also starting to notice as summer is in full swing where I live. Now, the good news is there are treatment options available to reduce or even eliminate our melasma. Topical creams like hydroquinone, azelaic acid, and kojic acid, or also procedures that you can have done such as chemical peels, laser, or microneedling. But it is very important to talk to your dermatologist first before going with any of these treatment options. Although these treatments can reduce the appearance of melasma, it's probably never going to go away for good. And so it's extremely important once you've treated and reduced the appearance of the melasma to keep it from getting re-triggered. So who's most at risk? Melasma is most common in women between the ages of 20 and 40, and it tends to affect people with darker skin tones. Men aren't completely off the hook, but it tends to affect women on a more common basis. If melasma runs in your family, it's more likely that you're going to be affected by this condition. I know this is a lot to take in, but hear me out. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to treating your melasma and avoiding any re-triggering of your melasma so that you have glowing skin forever. So now that we've gone through more of a background of melasma, I really want to share with you my own personal story of my melasma journey. So the ups, the downs, and then how I've been able to treat my melasma over the past few years and avoid re-triggering these hyperpigmentations on my skin. Growing up as a kid, I absolutely loved being outside. I remember summers being outside at the pool, burning, turning tan, comparing my tans with all my friends, literally not a care in the world, never thinking about sun damage or wrinkles or skin cancer or any of the lasting effects that too much sun exposure can have on your skin. All of this pretty much changed when I turned 24 years old and I went on a trip to the Philippines. I'm in the Philippines for a week. I'm having a blast. I'm getting my tan on. I might be putting some SPF on my face just not to burn and peel, but that's literally the only thing going on in my mind of why I should avoid sun exposure. I noticed on like day 5 or 6 when I looked in the mirror that I had what looked like a mustache on my upper lip. And so it wasn't like freckles, it was just this vague brown discoloration splotching my entire upper lip. I didn't really know what it was. I'd never heard of melasma before, but when I got back home to the US, I booked an appointment with my dermatologist. Without really asking too many questions, she immediately was like, Yeah, that's melasma. My dermatologist prescribed me hydroquinone, and I was supposed to use this for 1 to 2 months as well as start wearing sunscreen. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. If you've done any research on melasma, you have probably heard of this ingredient called hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is a skin lightening agent. It's probably one of the heaviest hitters in the melasma world. What does it actually do? Essentially, hydroquinone works by blocking an enzyme called tyrosinase, which is responsible for creating melanin production. So the less tyrosinase means less melanin. Less melanin means lighter colored skin patches. You've probably heard of other tyrosinase inhibitors such as kojic acid, azelaic acid, and arbutin, but these are just not as aggressive and are not medical grade skincare products like hydroquinone. I'm a huge fan of hydroquinone for pretty much eliminating melasma, and it's been super effective for me, and it virtually erased all of the melasma that I had on my skin. So it was not only on my mustache area, but I had some in the lower half of my face as well. And so after using this for 1 month, all of my melasma was gone and my skin was absolutely glowing. If you live in the States, you're going to need a prescription to get hydroquinone, and it is recommended to use hydroquinone under the supervision of a dermatologist. This can be a bit irritating, so if you find that this does bother your skin, you could also consider other alternatives such as the other tyrosinase inhibitors that I mentioned, like kojic acid or azelaic acid. Years have gone by and I am living my best skincare life. I started using tretinoin for anti-aging for my skin. I was wearing sunscreen religiously, and I was also being better at just protecting my skin and my face using hat wear. So I'd wear baseball caps or other sort of hats. Anyways, I had melasma and I cured it. End of story, right? Unfortunately, this is not how the story of my melasma journey ends. Everything's been going really well for me until I went to Bali when I turned 30. I am doing everything right in Bali. I am wearing SPF 50. I am wearing a wide-rimmed hat. I am laying in the shade. My face has not seen the sun the entire week in Bali. So everything is perfect except for one very small detail. The sunscreen that I was wearing was SPF 50, but it was a chemical and not a mineral-based sunscreen. I was using the La Roche-Posay and Thelios Ultralight SPF, not realizing that it didn't have zinc in it. This was the one thing that I did wrong where my skin went from this to this. Here's where I want to get a bit more personal with you guys. I understand that beauty is more than skin deep, but for me, when I looked in the mirror and I saw these patches of skin on my face, it made me feel so embarrassed and self-conscious. When I feel the most confident in myself, it's when my skin is clear and I can go out without wearing makeup and I don't have to cover up. To go from having great skin that I was taking really great care of, meticulously wearing sunscreen, to having skin where I had to cover it up with foundation so that no one could see the skin underneath. It felt like I had taken a huge step back in how I had developed my own confidence. And I'm very much hashtag melasma positivity. I think it's a condition that can be managed and you can be beautiful with melasma or without. But for me, I really wanted to treat my melasma and have glowing skin again where I could go out wearing just sunscreen and feel confident in myself. This is when I decided that I needed to take extra steps to make sure that this would never happen to me again. I hadn't used hydroquinone in years, and I went back to a dermatologist, got another prescription. Again, same thing, after a month of using hydroquinone, my melasma completely went away, but I didn't want to have to keep going through this process. I made a lot of changes in my daily routine and my lifestyle so that I would never get my melasma re-triggered. I know that a lot of med spas have procedures specifically for people with melasma. So there are a melasma-friendly lasers as well as peels that you can go through. But there's always the risk that the laser can make your melasma worse rather than making it get better. For me personally, I don't want to take that risk because I know that I can take steps to avoid my melasma coming back. And it's all through prevention of sun exposure, as well as wearing sunscreens that have high protection to the sun. So here's exactly how I avoid melasma flare-ups. We can't talk about melasma without talking about the holy grail of skincare, which is sunscreen. I know you've heard it a million times, but seriously, sunscreen is an absolute non-negotiable. This is especially if you're dealing with melasma. Not all sunscreens are created equal, unfortunately. And if you're dealing with melasma, you need to make sure that your sunscreen is a mineral-based sunscreen. So what's the difference between chemical and mineral-based sunscreens? Chemical-based sunscreens actually work by absorbing UV rays and creating heat, while the mineral sunscreens actually stay on the top layer of your skin and physically block the sun off of your face. Mineral sunscreens usually contain zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, and oftentimes they come with a mixture of the two. What you would ideally look for in a mineral-based sunscreen is that the ingredients of the product of the titanium dioxide and or the zinc oxide equals at least 20%. Here are a couple of my personal recommendations for sunscreens that I love. This is the ultraviolet lean screen, and this has a 22.75% zinc oxide as its ingredient. So it's extremely high coverage, as well as SPF 50. Another one of my favorite sunscreens is the Dermatology Physical tinted sunscreen. This is 10% zinc oxide as well as 5.5% titanium dioxide. This one is going to be a tinted moisturizer. Usually when you have titanium dioxide, it's going to be a tinted sunscreen versus a pure zinc-based sunscreen, which is usually not tinted. Sunscreen makeup has definitely taken off over the past few years, and I am here for it. I have found some really amazing skincare products that double as makeup as well as having mineral-based sunscreen in them. And so one of my favorites is the Color Science Flex. This has a 12% zinc oxide ingredient in it. It covers up imperfections and gives my skin such an amazing glow. I am wearing it today in the shade medium. I think it looks absolutely amazing, and I wear this as my daily makeup now. And Color Science also has a few other products that I'm a huge fan of. They have a lot of really great color balms. So this is their blush in the shade Berry. It's a 12.5% zinc, and this is really easy to reapply, especially if you're out and about. But the only issue is that you can only put it on certain areas of your face, but it looks really great on your lips. It looks good on your cheeks and over your eyes as well. And then as a finishing powder, their Glow Brush On Shield is really awesome as well. And this has 22.5% titanium dioxide and then 22.5% zinc oxide. So this is like a really great setting powder that you can also use to reapply your sunscreen when you're out throughout the day. Next up is tretinoin, and I use this pretty much every single night. Tretinoin is a vitamin A derivative, and it's pretty much one of the most beloved ingredients by dermatologists. So how does tretinoin help with melasma? Well, it actually helps to speed up the cell turnover. This means that you're able to shed this outer layer of skin that might have the patches on it faster, and so it kind of gives your skin like a fresh start. Tretinoin is also awesome because it stimulates collagen production, so it can help with your skin texture as well as fine lines. But I'm not gonna lie, tretinoin can be a bit irritating, especially when you're starting off using it. It can cause irritation, it can cause dryness and peeling, but just keep in mind that this purge process eventually does end, and you will have amazing fresh skin when you get through with this peeling phase. This is another prescription product, so you can get this from your dermatologist, or you could use telehealth services like Apostrophe. I use the 0.1%, which is the highest strength on the market, and I use it. I try to do it every night, but sometimes it's like 4 or 5 nights a week, depending on how my skin is feeling. Chemical peels use acids like glycolic acid or lactic acid to exfoliate the outer layer of your skin. This exfoliation process can help to fade the superficial discoloration on your skin. It can help to smooth out texture as well as appearance of fine lines on your skin. For me personally, I will get light chemical peels during the winter, so usually just once a year, and I don't do anything very deep. With the light chemical peel, I might see some sort of like light peeling on my skin day 2 or 3, and the skin has completely refreshed and renewed by day 4 or 5. I'm not doing any of those really intensive chemical peels you probably see online. This is a very light peel. Sometimes you don't even notice the peeling happening. Keep that in mind if you're going to a dermatologist and you're looking for a peel. There's different levels of peels. You want to be careful with going too intense too fast. Okay, so I've talked a bit about treatments, topical treatments, procedures you can get done, but we also should talk about something for just keeping and maintaining your skin quality, which is maintaining a healthy skin barrier. So you can think of your skin barrier as a brick wall. When it's healthy, the bricks are tightly packed and they keep out irritants like allergens or UV rays. But when these bricks start to loosen, that's when trouble can happen. A compromised skin barrier can make your skin more sensitive and reactive. This can trigger inflammation and excess melanin production, which, you guessed it, can cause melasma flare-ups. And so some things that you can do to keep a strong and healthy skin barrier is to use, first of all, gentle skin cleansers. So you want to look for pH balanced options that don't have a lot of fragrances or irritating ingredients. A lot of brands that cater to this might be Cetaphil and CeraVe that have pH friendly as well as fragrance free products. Next, you want to keep your skin really hydrated. So make sure that you have a great moisturizer that is, again, fragrance free. Finally, avoid harsh ingredients. So avoid things with essential oils that have fragrances, alcohol. All of these things can irritate your skin barrier. So my last line of defense for preventing melasma flare-ups is UPF clothing. And so UPF stands for ultraviolet protection factor. It's basically like SPF for your clothing. I know a lot of people that wear baseball caps when they go out, thinking that it's protecting their skin from the sun. And it is effective for, I guess, the top half of your face. But if you get melasma on anything from the lower half of your face, it's not going to be adequate or give you ample protection. I do look for UPF clothing and hat wear, especially if I'm going to be out in the sun for an extended period of time. So anything over like probably 20 minutes. So if I'm not just like walking my dog around the block a few times, I will wear UPF clothing. So what I look for is a UPF rating of 30 or higher, and this means that it blocks up to 97% of the sun's rays. I will wear wide brimmed hats, and so I look for a brim that is at least 3 inches. That's going to be ideal for protecting your face and your neck. And I will also wear long sleeves when I'm out in the sun. And I know this isn't melasma specific because I don't have melasma on my arms, but I am also trying to avoid excess sun exposure on the rest of my body because skin cancer does run in my family. I don't think that UPF clothing has to be ugly anymore. There are many more options out there. So I have one of the hats from Solbari, and I think it's really cute and it's super functional, and you can even kind of like mold it around depending on what look you're going for. I don't think that wearing UPF clothing has to be embarrassing, or if you're wearing it on the beach that you have to look like you're trying super hard not to get the sun on your face. Honestly, for me, I think adding UPF clothing into your day-to-day routine is just another added layer of keeping your skin protected from the sun, just knowing that you're doing everything you can to avoid any melasma flare-ups. Just to recap, pretty much all of these treatments, all these procedures, they're going to be a huge waste of your time and a huge waste of money if you do not take the first step in protecting your skin from the sun. Okay, so get yourself some zinc-based sunscreen, go to the drugstore, buy something fancy online, whatever your budget can afford, just make sure that you're wearing it every single day. I hope you found this video helpful. Give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me to grow. If you have any questions, personal experiences, or even your own melasma tips that you want to share, you can just drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.